Okay, my people, Don Bernard here with Jed Rosen, and he's doing a seminar here at Bangz Salon in Montclair. And you know, it's interesting, Jed, because I just did a Facebook status update in which I said the greatest healing device is the power of forgiveness. And so I see it as divine, synchronicity that, I said that a few days ago, and now I'm connecting with you right now. And what's also interesting is just last night, a friend of mine, she was asking me, she said, I have something deep in my heart. I want to let it go. I know it's not good for me, but I can't seem to let it go. I feel like this, this person deserves that resentment, that anger, but I know it's not good for me. So I'm just wondering, how you allow people to create a space where they can start to heal from this kind of turmoil.
Well, the first thing, there's some steps to take for sure, but the first thing that I like to present, because nothing teaches more than example, is that I got interested. I had a therapy practice for a long time. Nowhere in my training of years and years was I ever taught anything about forgiveness. I mean, I studied the human being, the consciousness and everything, until I came across a workshop some years before that, maybe some years since, and it took off for me. Most of us have, including me. I had an issue, a grievance, a long-standing grievance with a person that I held on to, and after a while, I think I held on to it because it was now a habit. I almost didn't know how to let it go.
Yeah.
And when you think, why wouldn't we let go? It's often because re-examining it is still painful. If I let a person go, which is forgiveness, if I let the situation go, will it mean maybe I'm wrong? Will it mean I'm vulnerable again? Will it mean that I will no longer be safe? Will it mean I can be hurt again? All of these things come back. So we, in many ways, decide we better not. We better stay with status quo. We feel on some level that at least we hold on to who we are, even if we're immersed in a grievance. But you're right, the downside is it wrecks your health. I mean, the downside is that long-term negative feelings and hostility. I don't mean short-term, that's part of life, but long-term negativity, research has been shown, wrecks your immune system, increases rates of cancer and cardiac disease and high blood pressure.
Yeah, because we know that, thought is connected with matter, that you can't separate the two. So whatever's going on within your consciousness is also going to affect the outside world.
It's all consciousness. It all comes down to consciousness. So the way that we find a space is we help enlarge consciousness to a perspective where we see, yes, you do get hurt in life. There's no question. That has been the case, will continue to be the case. But how do you find a way to hold this hurt without being defined by it? How do you find a way to stay connected to other parts of your experience without being defined by the part that hurts you? And when you can connect with your blessings, connect with the part of you that's healthy and alive, and the part of you that has been so lucky to be given this life and to have people who regard you. People tend to worry more about those that have treated them badly than those that have treated them well. So they discount those that have been treating them well. But if we can find a way to show people that you can tune out from what's hurt you and tune in to the positives in your life.
Things that love you, people that love you, the nurturing experiences of life.
Your consciousness changes. It doesn't mean that hurt doesn't happen, and it doesn't mean that you still don't feel hurt, but what it does mean is that you don't define yourself by it.
Well, when you are now forgiving someone of something that, clearly was very detrimental to you at a certain time, and you finally forgive them, you let it go, does it still resurface?
It can resurface. It's not like it isn't like once I reach forgiveness, like it's closed deal.
It's over,
it isn't like that. It's not fixed. It's like a practice. Think of it like this: when you practice faith, it is a practice. You practice faith. You don't just have it. When you practice faith, you cultivate faith.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it never wavers. It doesn't mean that a life challenge hits you, your faith gets tested. It's the same thing with forgiveness. You can forgive a person. I can forgive a person in my life, or an event. It's not just a person. I can forgive an event. I can forgive life if I don't feel I've been treated well. And then something else happens and it resurfaces, as you said, and I'm thrown back in the soup. I don't want to pretend I don't have more work to do on forgiveness. I do. Maybe I'm angry again. Maybe I don't feel safe. Maybe I'm even embittered. But the work is, if we have a practice, we get back to our day-to-day practice, our tools of forgiveness, and we find a way to put that in its place and let go of that too.
And that's very connected with what I say about spirit being like a muscle. It's like a muscle. You gotta work it. If you don't work it, you get weak.
I'll tell you one thing, in our world, revenge, hostility, those are very well developed muscles. Forgiveness muscles,
not so
a little
good,
flabby.
Yeah.
So there's a way in which that we're just under practiced.
So how can people then begin to start this process? What's like a basic thing someone can do?
A basic way to start forgiveness is to, when you acknowledge your hurt, first of all, identify clearly why you're in a grievance. A grievance is usually a state of protest. That's what a grievance is. You're in a state of protest. You don't want to live your whole life in a state of protest. So you identify and get as clear as possible about what it is that you're upset about. Because most people are so global about it, they just rant and rave. Get very clear about it. Find out what it is. Examine what your feelings are about it. And then something that most of us don't know how to do, you simply have to learn how to calm down.
Right.
Rather than go through your life ratcheted up in this adrenalized state. It's a crazy state, really.
That's right.
I mean, it may be a good state if you're being chased, by a mountain lion,
right.
And you have to survive. But you don't want to live your whole life in that crazy state.
And that's totally connected with what I told my friend. I said, for one, it's time. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. And the other thing is, why do we meditate? What are we doing? In meditation, you become still. You become still and you start to observe your thoughts. You start to observe the experiences that are connected with the thought. That's it. It's just a matter of that's calming down.
Yeah, that's mindfulness and meditation. That's I say calm down because it's the more generic. But when we as people learn to not ignore how we're hurt, but to say, yes, we were hurt. Yes, it does hurt. Now, how do I want to hold it?
Exactly.
Do I want to hold it by simply making that my whole reality? And then I will have a life like that.
That's right.
I'll have a life based on being hurt. I'll be a victim, essentially.
Then the life starts to mirror.
That's right. You draw it. You draw that which you live.
That's right.
Or do I want to find a larger vessel to hold it, which is mindfulness and meditation? And what you're talking about when you talk about a mindfulness practice or a meditation practice is allowing your consciousness to not ignore how you've been hurt, but not to center itself around that, and begin to become an observer to all of you, and begin to find a way to move out of just the emotions connected with the events which are reactive, and see the entire thing from a bit of a different place. And that different place gives us a calm and an equipoise that allows us to get a perspective. It increases our creativity, we problem solve better, and there's a way in which you can get back to what you originally wanted before you were hurt. I mean, people when they're when you're hurt, when a person's gotten jilted, rejected, they get burned and they get angry and they get carried so far away from what they once wanted.
There you go.
And what they once wanted was very pure, maybe the best thing about them.
No doubt about it. So it's through this practice, we come back to the source of our being, what we're truly seeking. And like Jed is saying, it's a practice. It's a muscle you have to build. It takes time. And it's a routine, I think, that we should all put in our lives, daily. So with that, my brother, Jed Rosen, we'll be doing a lot more work together. This is just the beginning. So come check us out if you have some time. Actually, will you be at the Wellness Gala?
I'm going to be 4 nights here at these consecutive Sundays. I know that for sure.
Okay.
Doing events here, and then we'll be doing some other work throughout the year.
There you go. So check out what's the website?
You can check out my website, and we'll have everything posted, which is www.rosensol.com.
There you go. There you have it. All right, man. It's been good.
Great. Wonderful.
Peace, y'all.
Take care.
Peace.